I don't know if it started yet because I'm not looking at the right screen. Okay, hopefully that's it. Okay, I like to say hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on OreAni. Small crew here. Um, Everyone's got busy lives, so I hope everyone's having fun after the 4th of July holidays and watching all that soccer. I think it's still going on, right? The World Cup?
Oh, I have no idea. I haven't watched any of it.
Oh, I know a lot of people are into it, so. But we're still into anime here, so we're going to talk about that
Hell
here.
yeah.
So it's the end of the season. I would have loved to have done this last weekend, but I was at Anime Expo, which was really fun for the first time. That's an experience you need to try once, Jessica.
Yeah, I saw the number of guests at the turnstile and I thought, I don't know. That's a lot of people.
Oh man, it was so hard to walk in some areas.
Yeah,
But
that's not
but
really for me.
let's go ahead and talk about the title I have on the board here: the 100 Scenes of Awajima.
Okay, I don't actually see it showing up on the board yet.
It's
Oh,
small
wait,
white text. They have it so
it's
plain.
just
It's
the
just
white
looking
text.
down. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I was looking for a picture. This is an anime based on a manga called Scenes of Awajima by no, Shimamura or Shimura. Um, and she primarily features and centers queer young adults as they grapple with life and their sexuality and coming out and all of that stuff. And that is sort of present here in this one. The setting is Awajima, which is basically a Takarazuka stand in. It's an all girls drama prep school. They put on plays, very reminiscent of Kageki Shoujo, only here it's more just these little disparate vignettes into the lives of the students and characters. And so in some episodes, it'll focus just on a pair of students. And then in some episodes, it will focus on many different groupings of students all throughout different stages of time. So there's some students that are there in the early OZs, some students that are there in the probably late 70s and even earlier. And it just kind of goes through everything that they do. And the school is the main thing that connects everybody. And it's pretty good. I would say there were a few episodes that were a little confusing just because when the story is moving through the different times, it doesn't actually come out and say, hey, this is this year, or whatever. You have to notice from context clues about the technology levels as to where and when this is taking place. And some episodes are better at communicating that than others. I would say check it out, but it's not a super duper high recommendation for me because this is very differently paced and doesn't really have a main character per se. So it could be a bit of a hard sell. But if you like the mangaka Shimura's stories, you definitely should watch it for that. But it's not my favorite of hers. So, anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say, unless you have questions.
So if I remember correctly, the other title that I think was really big was The Wandering Sun, right?
Yes, Wandering Sun and then Sweet Blue Flowers.
I've never heard of that one, but I
That
do.
one is a Yuri, and it did have an anime a few years back, and Wandering Sun did too. Fun fact, Wandering Sun is often challenged and banned in the United States, so it can be difficult to find that manga. I also believe it might be out of print now too, but it's one of the more popular, quote unquote, books for people to ban books of, unfortunately.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But like the time skips, are you talking like decades or is it?
Yeah, it can be decades because it deals with different generations of girls. And so there's a teacher who is older, her hair is graying type thing, um, is a student or had been a student at one point. So it shows her as a teenager in some of the stories, and then in others, she's actually an elderly woman. So you just have to realize that, oh, that's the same character. So we're in a different time now.
And my only other question would be with these time skips and these jumps, are is it like done by arc, or just does it move around throughout the whole show?
No, it moves around throughout the whole show, and that's why it can be a little disorienting and a bit confusing for at least me anyway. Is because there's no preamble or anything. It expects you to pay attention to all the little details to understand when the show is taking place and who is going to be the main character for the little vignette.
I see. Okay, thank you. We'll go to the next title on our list, which happens to be you again, which is Akane Banshi.
Oh, yeah. So if Witch Hat Atelier had not premiered this season, this probably would have been my anime of the season. I freaking loved Akane Banashi. And you should definitely watch it. Even if Rakugo isn't really your thing, it's a delightful show.
I might try because you did convince me one time with that one with the guy that plays that stringed instrument. What was it? And
Oh, the Shamisen one. Yeah. Oh
yeah,
shoot, what was that?
I spent one whole day
Snow
watching the
White
whole
Notes?
series once you recommended it.
So I can recommend good ones every once in a blue moon. Yay.
So how would you pick
uh
this to that, or because there's
well,
it's
do you want to know the premise or do you want to know kind of more my thoughts and feelings on it now that it's all wrapped up?
thoughts and feelings. 'Cause we did talk about it when you first started, and did you actually
Yeah.
ever look up that Sunshine
I
guy and
did.
come
I
over?
looked up Sunshine Sensei and it was delightful to watch the Rakugo performance in my own language. Um, because you could kind of appreciate a lot of the little details that might go over your head when you're just watching the subtitles. But I gotta say, they do a lot of really nicely animated scenes in Akane Banashi where they'll be walking out on stage. It's not anything that's gonna hit um, Twitter or TikTok or anything for, oh, look at this flashy fight scene, but it's subtle and it's good. It's really well done. Just them throwing the pillow out there, very fluidly animated and whatnot. There's lots of little hand gestures and stuff that the Rakugoka do that are animated very fluidly and naturally. It looks really good. In fact, I believe Anime Now was posting just the clips of the Rakugo scenes up on their YouTube channel. So you could watch the whole episode, or if you just wanted to see the Rakugo segments, you could do that too. Um, One thing I really liked about Akane as a heroine is that she is still nervous, even though she has gotten up on stage and performed lots of times. She still does the little kanji swallow thing at before she goes out on stage, and it shows other very experienced rakugoka who also deal with a little bit of nerves before a performance. And I think one of the better episodes was towards the end where she had to um, perform a very specific Rakugo play in order to participate in this tournament. And so she was learning about the different ways that artists interpret the original plays of Rakugo. And so there was one performer who really liked the history of Rakugo and used that to inform his performance, and another one that felt like these stories are so old, who can relate to these people that lived so long ago? The world is completely different. And so he would update the play or the little vignette to a modern day setting with modern day language and puns. So it was making the case that Rakugo is not a static art. There is some wiggle room in there, and it just depends on your own personal preference for which way you want to go. And yeah, heartily recommend it. Would love to see a second season of it. And I want to know if anyone's read the manga, and if so, if that's good too.
I guess I have two questions. The first one would be,
Okay.
um, like in some of these shows when they're telling their stories, they'll have like some kind of animation or pictures to the side of them to kind of depict what they're telling the story. Does it do any of
Mm-hmm.
that still, or is it totally showing their true performance as a Rakugo?
It does both, and it's very smart about the way it does it. Is that if we've seen Akane rehearse the play, oh, I forget the name of the play, even though she says it 1,000 times in one of the Jingoro, I think. It's the one about the kid with a very, very, very long name. And I've seen that play referenced in other anime too. It's an actual real Rakugo play. That one she performs several times. And so the first time it shows her, it focuses more on her performance. And then as you go throughout the series, it'll have it will animate the actual story instead of showing Akane performing it. And I think that's smart just to keep it fresh in the mind of the viewer. And there are also some times where someone will be performing and there will be an audience member that has their reaction to it, kind of the way a lot of shonen fights go. So it does do that too.
I see. And would you say this takes place more like in our time?
Yes, I believe Akane has a smartphone or a flip phone. Of course, I can't remember now. But yeah, it looks like it's a modern day Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because like some of these shows are very interesting, where it's like you think it takes place modern day because of a lot of the stuff they show, but everything always looks very old fashioned.
It does, yeah.
I think like
Well, the
Hikaru no Go was one. Oh,
was that what's the other Rakugo series from not long ago? Was it My Master Has No Tail? That kind of straddles along between the past and the current, whereas Akane Banashi is firmly entrenched in the modern setting. It's just that
Hmm.
since Rakugo as an art has been around for hundreds of years, it tends to a lot of things they set in rules or tradition tends to be very retro old school style, but they do make a lot of references throughout the story where it does take in contemporary places in Tokyo and Osaka and what have you. And it's also based on the actual places where you can actually go and visit and attend to if you want to.
mhm.
Oh, and I think there's one scene where one of Akane's high school friends uploads a performance onto YouTube. So
Yes.
yeah, I would say it's definitely modern.
I see. All right, thank you.
Hmm.
Let's go to the next title. What do we have on here? Oh, give me a second. I it's funny because I make the list in uh English because that's how the titles are on Crunchyroll and stuff. But then all the title cards have everything in Japanese. So I have to figure out what the Japanese name is. But this one is this title here is the observation log of my fiance who calls herself the villainess. And if you just want a nice, lighthearted isekai villainess story, this one I really, really enjoyed. And unlike the other like villainess trapped in a game, where they know that they're going to go down to ruin or something bad's going to happen, so they have to change the story to save their life or to get themselves in a better position. This one, the girl is totally into the whole I am the villainess. And even outright just tells the main guy like I'm the villainess. And throughout the whole thing, she's trying to get the prince to get together with the heroine, which is just so funny. And I think her name was Bertia. She's just so cute in everything that she does and how she's tried to do these things to the point where she's even making like villain things for her father to help follow along the path of villainy so she can become the ultimate villainess. But Cecile is the prince that takes everything she's saying as a joke, but also kind of like is intrigued by it and finds it very interesting. And as he goes through and sees everything that she says and sees that some of the stuff is really happening, the way she tells because of her game knowledge, he starts trying to change things and find a way to make it so that he stays with the villainess while the villainess is trying to make him go with the heroine. So it's this really fun thing of them fighting or pushing each other back and forth while he's easily manipulating her because she's such a simple girl that it's really funny. But it has some very interesting moments because the prince is seen as this perfect being, and even to the point where he's able to do everything so well that he finds life boring. But with Bertia, he finds it very interesting because of how eccentric she is, and that's why he kind of has this new pull to try to keep her with him. But overall, it's a really nice rom com that's just cute and fun. That I really would recommend as one of the top villainess uh, tropes out there. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, this one. How do you say this in Japanese? Ozuki. The apothecary. No, that's not the right one. Ascendance of a bookworm.
Onzuki no Kekukujo.
Honzuki no Gekkojo. Is this it? Yeah,
Ascendance of a bookworm.
there it is. Yeah, so this is what the fourth season.
Yep, it's season 4.
So I don't know. It's it's still very fun show. It has a very different feel to it, I think, compared to the other show seasons, but it's still very fun. I think it's right now it's her starting her new life as a noble and how she's trying to navigate and learn how to get accustomed to her new role, as well as her keeping her centric. I love books and I need to read them every moment. So, um, I don't know what to say about the newest season because it just seems to be a lot of buildup. I didn't really see it really trying to go anywhere right now. It's just trying to build up everything I think that might happen later on. What do you? Because I know you've read the books, right, Vinny? So do you know
Yeah,
more
yeah.
like where it's heading to? Is it really just the buildup right?
Yeah, well, the season 4, I believe it's gonna be 2 core, but 24 episode. What they're trying to do is now they are going to cover, see, this is the part 3. So they're trying to cover about, ooh, 3, 4, but goodness gracious, give me a second. I just want to get the right information. It does cover a lot, because book-wise, it's let me see. it's trying to cover 5 volumes into 24 episodes, which is more feasible than like season 2, where they try to do 4 volumes of content into first into like one core, and they realized they really couldn't cram it so much into it, so they ended up having season 3 about 10 episodes, and they kind of went a little sideways in terms of pacing. But yeah, right now it's at the end of a part one of this two core series. If anybody who has never watched the series before and just jump into it just because somehow, and if people feel a little confused about where this is heading to, I can certainly understand the confusion. The author is very deliberate in pacing. She never really jumps in and drops a big bomb out of nowhere. She never does that. It's always that tidbits of hints dropping here and there throughout. And eventually, when everything just builds up into the big grand finale, everything eventually clicks. That's the oldest hint that was been dropped as to why those things actually has roles in it. Unfortunate with the anime, because a lot of content has to be cut in order to make it fit and flow, some of those hints are not readily obvious or it's kind of a loss in translation per se. They do try their best by kind of adding into that little short skit at the end of each episode. Sometimes it looks innocuous, kind of like random tidbits, so sometimes actually do have a place in it. Um, for those fans who's been watching it before, that season 4 is a huge change from the first 3 seasons. The animation studio changed. Pretty much entire staffing has been overhauled. New director, new main character designers, illustrators, so on and so forth. Only thing that really kept is a style of the series. In between, so during the intermission, you'll see the little flowers circling around with the little chiming music. They kind of kept those things as a, for the sake of consistency, or at the beginning of the each episode, where you see the pages flipping, transitioning into the episode. Those were kept. Even those chibi style at the end of each episode, they kept it. Even the style looks different, but those kind of the sort of comic relief or extra information, those two are kind of those are saved and kept as a kind of a continuation tradition. But gonna go a little sidetrack here since because this is probably the only series I really fully paid attention to this season. Uh, some people might know at the beginning of the series where opening was just uh, uh fouled and corrupted by AI generated imagery just inserted into a lot of parts of the opening sequences. A lot of people threw a fit. They eventually changed it and they kind of gave a lame excuse that this was not meant to happen. Somehow it happened. Well, they knew what they're doing. They just got caught. So they had no choice but to make a change, otherwise it drew the ire of fans. And these fans are very passionate about this particular series to the point where a lot of people will literally send a tweet to the author herself, and she doesn't read the tweet because I myself even got some feedback here and there for some random things I ask. So they did that. Character design changed. I didn't particularly hated or disliked the original's character design from the first 3 seasons. Some people felt that was a little too deviated from it. So everybody has gotten prettier and has a more detail to certain degrees, and which is a good thing. And the character pool has expanded. So now that Mine, at the end of the season 3, Mine is officially declared dead, and she has been converted into the noble lady named Rosemine, who is the son of the knight commander, no, daughter of a knight commander, then subsequently adopted into the archduke's family to bring her industry as called Dukey-wise project and what have you. So this part takes place in a age where she's just baptized at the age of 7 again, and until age of 9, no, age of 10 when she's about to enroll into the Royal Academy. So it takes in 3 years span where she's getting ready to fully transition into the life of a noble lady. Uh, so if anybody who was kind of watched it without watching first 3 seasons, I really recommend people to start from the very beginning, as some of the contents otherwise it would not make much sense, or it will impact will be very dull compared to knowing what has happened before. And the studio actually did a lot of due diligence by creating the flashback sequences on their own instead of reusing the content from the first 3 seasons, since the style does not match, save for the one small part where it really actually was okay with it. Um, Second half, which I believe episode 13 just aired not long a few days ago, is going to continue from the time where she's now going in and out of castle. She has to deal with the mess that she created in the small town of Hase, where she kind of strong arms town into letting her take over a couple of the orphans and not understanding the ramification behind that. So she has to deal with that aftermath of that. Then she's going to be dealing with much more of a novel etiquette and all the do's and don'ts that she doesn't realize. And it's gonna eventually lead towards big events where, well, she gets knocked down quite a lot. And I'm not gonna say much for those people who hasn't read or know the series yet. But yeah, so for those who still watching it, hang tight. It's going to get a lot more interesting towards the end. And for those who watched and enjoyed the concert events, I certainly share your sentiment. And I still chuckle about the fact that how the High Priestess concert managed to knock down half of the Noble Lady audiences into they also fainted upon hearing his wonderful voice. It's almost like having a voice orgasm kind of thing happened there. And I believe those are one of the episodes everybody was just looking forward to see how it was going to be animated, and I think they did pretty good job doing so. Even though I don't fully agree that Sho Hayami's voice is really suited to be the strappy young 22-year-old man, but it is what it is.
So we did mention the animation change, and
Mm-hmm,
I actually think it was okay because
mm-hmm,
we have such a new shift from the slum life to the high life that I think it
mm-hmm,
kind of fits a little bit. But I'm not a stickler for like animators or the studios as long as they try to keep it somewhat familiar.
mm-hmm.
Like that Mao retry was so bad with its change.
Right, that was a massive downgrade, and this was supposed to represent a refinement or upgrade from the first 3 seasons, and which is a shame because original studio of the first 3 seasons, OnzzyDayo, they are very capable of producing high quality animation, but throughout the whole 3 seasons words, all we are hearing about is how much of a budget constraints are hampering them with this particular series. It's almost like they were running on a shoestring budget, and animators were basically doing their utmost to try to make it look completely uh, rubbish. Especially with the season 3, I believe they were originally slotted for 8 episodes, and people will kind of start counting the books and the contents and decided like, there's no way they can fit all that 2 volumes of words of stuff into 8 episodes. And the word was that studio was managed to get additional financing at the last minute to put cram in 2 more episodes in it, and that just brought up to 10 episodes. And that seems to be the theme of the day with Agiado with the bookworm series. They wanted to do a better job, just that they had no money to spare, so this was what they could scrape, which is a damn shame because some of the other series they produced was pretty good in terms of visual quality of it. So when they switched over to which studio, first thing fans was like, oh my god, we're excited, and two, are they gonna be on the perpetual crunch mode, like releasing the episode at the very last second, like with everything else, or three, are they gonna fall apart? So far, none of that has happened. Although there was a one episode that kind of had a 1 week delay, but that seems to be the life of a modern day Japanese animation at this point. That's having a skip week is pretty much given. But even then, I did not dislike the style of the characters. Although when they're talking the south sideways profile, their mouth is kind of a fixed in the middle of the face, which kind of gives a little weird visual cue. Whereas if you look at the current season 4, when they are talking from the side profile, the mouth fully opens up like it should. So that's one of the things that I noticed, that aside from the overall change of the, each character's look and what have you.
All right. I didn't know it was 2 course, so I'm really excited. I have to go check out that new episode because we've been keeping up with it. So
Hmm.
let's go ahead and move over to the next title. Although I haven't seen all of it, I do want to talk about it because I'm definitely going to finish this. It's such an interesting title. It's called Botan Kamina Fully Blossoms When Drunk. It's on Crunchyroll. And it's kind of like a Yuri show. It's the full cast is girls. They all live in a shared dorm. Uh, what do you call it? Like a dorm house. And you have the RA, residence assistants, and you have the person that runs everything. But the greatest thing about this is the tension that they put into the show, because there's um it's hard. I'm trying to explain this the best I can, but Kamina Botan is seems to be the main girl that just gets along with everyone. She's a very nice personality, bubbly, and she ends up drinking with Ibuki, which is this girl that tends to be very to herself. And when she loves to drink, and this shows a lot about drinking, and she loves to drink, and but she drinks alone because of, I guess, a trauma or something that happened to her when she was drinking with a group that made her so embarrassed and so ashamed that she drinks alone now, and she won't drink with anyone else. But Kamina just so happens to run into her as she was drinking, and they're able to share this moment with each other where they realize that they're somewhat similar in a certain aspect that lets Ibiki become calm and relaxed and has fun with her. But then you have this girl called Kaede who runs the house that she's always wants to drink with Ibuki. You could tell there's some connection between them, and she tries to do so much. And you can even see a lot of scenes where she's just standing there staring at them two together, and you could feel the tension. That's just she's so jealous. She wants to be with them, but just Ibuki doesn't. She, because of her trauma, she just always pushes her away and always tries to stay alone. And it's so crazy. And I think that episodes are also animated by different people because the styles of some of the episodes are so different from each other that it seems like they had different people leading each one with their own different style. Like if you watch episode, I think it was 3 versus anything else, it's so crazy different. And the other thing I really love about the show is the ending credits. The ending credits all have a different uh, story in them. They're all like stilled photos of what's of different moments that are happening, but each ending tells a different story of different girls that are happening within the show. That kind of adds to the whole um, backstory of each girl, and it's just so amazing. I've only seen 6 episodes, and I really want to watch more. But every time I watch it, I get like this weird anxiety because I'm like, oh my goodness, this is it's just so awkward in some areas that it affects me. And but it's really fun, and I I really want to recommend this to some people too. It's no action, nothing like that. It's just girls drinking and a lot of Yuri moments with each other, and it's so. Uh, but yeah, definitely check it out and see what I'm talking about. It's crazy, especially when you get into the later episodes. Um, I guess we'll continue on. I'm going to skip uh Classroom of the Elite season 4 because it's season 4, right? So how about Daemons of the Shadow Realm?
EA mods.
DA.
Uh,
I like how they do that EA thing. That's whatever they. How do you? What's that? What would you call that letter?
I don't
Towards.
actually know. They're, yeah, I don't know what that's called. They're smushed together though.
Yeah.
They're conjoined twins. I'm enjoying it. I got a little bit behind on this one though, so I'm not current. How about you guys?
I think I'm a little current. I think it shows it's 2 core, which I did not know. But
Mm-hmm.
it's been pretty fun. Like I didn't honestly think it was going to be a show that I would be interested in. I thought it was going to be your typical shonen, battle packed everything. Now it does have battles, it does have some interesting fights, but it's slightly a little different, and it's very come very amusing for me.
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting things happening under the hood, and while it's hard to say whether this will be as good as Full Metal Alchemist because it isn't really out, I definitely like where it's going, and we're in good hands. I've only read a handful of other manga and watched anime by the same artist. She did Silver Spoon, and she did the artwork for the heroic epic of Arslan, the heroic legend of Arslan, and a couple other things. It just kind of fizzled out. So I'm hoping with this one that it's more of a solid hit because she seems to be helming all of it, writing the story and doing the art, and not just doing the art component like she did for Arslan.
Mm. Yeah, so we'll probably talk about it at the end of next season then, a little more in
Mm-hmm.
depth. Let's go to the next title. What is this? What's this one in Japanese? Oh, of course, it starts isekai. Farming life in another world. Isekai Nonburi Noka. 2. Um, it's one of the few titles that's on High Dive, and it just continues off where it left off. I believe they had a child, and they're also building extra cities within the forest. I can't remember what the forest called. It was like the Forest of Death or something like that. To allow others to join them. Um, it's just more of what it is. I mean, you watch the first season, if you like it, you can continue on the second. But you do need all of the information from the first, so I don't know what else to say. Vinny, anything?
No, it's continuation. If you watch the first season and liked it, you'll probably watch the second season. If you watched the first season and didn't care for it, because it's very heavy on info dump, and it's not on. It does. It's not an action series. It's really more like a nerdy, uh, Sim City kind of like series where you try to build a civilization or village out of nowhere with this cheat ability, and they try to kind of insert the whole slice of a life theme where everything is kind of everything is kind of lighthearted. There's nothing serious going on. There's no major conflict. So if those things kind of find you to be make you feel bored about it, you probably would not watch this series, and I don't see any ways to change your mind about that.
Yeah. It seems like they kind of halfway do everything. Like they even do like a lot of food reveals. Oh, I'm going to bring food from Japan to here, but it doesn't even go in depth into it. It's just like, oh yeah, we'll just cook rice and look, boom, we made it. Unlike some other
Yeah.
shows.
Well, because other shows, when they start doing the whole isekai mix with the food, they really go all in it. It's like not only they try to recreate recipes of the dishes, then sometimes they even literally bring the ingredients straight out from the other worlds, like the one with the guy with the wolf and what have you. You know, you're literally buying stuff out of supermarket with the actual stuff in it. Whereas this one is kind of like, you know what? I'll just think of a couple of recipe that I missed, but I'm not gonna try to completely recreate it. It's like in curry episode, he kind of tried to do orthodox by mixing up all the spices that he know that's component of a curry, but he doesn't go into all great details about exactly what style of a curry that he's trying to produce. Is he trying to produce a Japanese curry? Is he trying to create Indian curry? Is he trying to Southeast Asian the curry with a coconut in it? No, it's just curry. It's different from the world they're living in, which also happens to be that food around here in his new world kind of sucks, which seems to be the given with any kind of isekai food trope. But he doesn't go all heavy into trying to change the world about it. He just wants to have a good, tasty food, share with everybody, and he grows crops that he needs to make it happen. And the end. But as you said, he does a lot of half-assing a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's
But for some reason, I still find it entertaining enough to continue watch it.
Yes, it is. It is lighthearted, so you can kind of watch it, have paying attention. As long as you know the story flows and you just enjoy it, that's good. Only part I really did not like about this season is that whole going digging under the ground and try to exterminate all those things and try to cut down this evil god that somehow came out of nowhere in the storyline. I thought that was pretty boring even in manga, and it sure I felt that same boring. It was very boring in the anime as well. I'm glad that they kind of got managed to get through in like 2 episodes because I was ready to press like skip button and just bypassed into the next episode.
Mhm. All right. Um, let's go to the next show. But that's Farm Life 2. Like I said, it's one of the only titles, one of the, I think, 3 or 4 titles that's on High Dive. So if you have a High Dive account, that's one you can try to get. Um, oh, maybe I'll share it here. I got a code from Anime AX for like a month free. They say that lasts until August 1st to get High Dive for a month. Yeah. Next step is, where is this title? Okay, I think this is it. Otaku, or sorry, gals can't be kind to otaku, and it's a rom com that's, I think it's somewhat misleading, and it's very interesting because it seems to follow this trend. And I think I saw a post somewhere where the all these shows that are doing these gal format um, aren't like representing like real life gals, supposedly. They're just kind of like in this. They just dress as very low key gals, blonde hair, dark skin. But I know there's this whole gal culture out there, but this has nothing to do with that. It's just 2 girls that are, rather than gals, I would rather say they're just popular students within the class that are nice to an otaku. And uh, as he interacts with them, he realizes that he actually has um, a lot in common with one of them because of the other one's like a closet otaku, and the other one just kind of just has fun because she doesn't have to worry about putting up pretenses. They kind of all become really close with each other and hang out a lot with each other, and they realize they kind of start liking him near the end. But he's one of the those dense protagonists that realizes he has feelings, but he's like, I can't choose. I gotta. I'm 2D life forever kind of thing. So it doesn't really have a conclusion. I believe the manga's still going on, so you could maybe expect more, but maybe like in a second season. But yeah, it's your stereotypical uh, girls out of your league being nice to the guy. And it's funny because the animation's pretty bland, but they have these scenes that are very like they try to make it look high quality to give this like here's the money shot. It looks so beautiful. But in one of those scenes, I found an error. I think I even sent to you guys. Remember with her mouth? It showed like her teeth looking really weird. I put it in the Discord. It was really funny how they can mess up uh, something that simple. The next title I think is somewhat in the similar format, but they do it a whole lot better. Um, this one is called I Made Friends with the Second Prettiest Girl in My Class. And this is another rom-com where it's a boy who, rather than a otaku, he's very to himself. He doesn't really go out there, put himself out in the open. But during his introduction, he kind of panics and just says that he likes watching B-rated films and just playing games. And it just so happens that the second prettiest girl in the class also shares those same hobbies, but being, in her kind of like how she's portrayed by the everyone else, that she needs to be someone, you know, that isn't into that. She reaches out to him one day when they're alone and suggests that they become friends because she has the same hobbies, and it just becomes this story of them, which is very different from some others where they actually do become a couple instead of will they or won't they. They do kind of get together, but there's also some very how do you say it? Very heavy moments with the boy as he's fighting through his own troubles in life with his family. And it's some pretty heavy stuff that I think a lot of people can relate to, such as I think it's divorce within the family. So there's this back thing going on with him. But overall, it's decent. It's nice. I think it's a little more easy to consume than the otaku. Gals can't be kind to an otaku. So if you want a rom com, I think that one would be a little more serious and a little more edible. Next up, Kusunoki. How do you say this? Oh, it's Kami. Oh, wrong title. Sorry, people. It's called Kusunoki's Garden of the Gods in Crunchyroll, and I really enjoyed this show. It's nothing to write home about. It's just a very easygoing life for this guy who returns to a countryside estate that was abandoned by his family. I think it's not really abandoned. I think his parents or grandparents passed, and now he's gone back to take care of it. But he ends up uh, running into the gods of the mountain and finds out that his handwriting, or himself, actually has some like spiritual powers, that within his handwriting he's able to purify things. And as it goes on, he meets more and more gods as he helps the god of the mountain, um, Yamagami. And it's just a lot of him having fun with the gods, feeding them different types of food, wondering what kind of food they want to like. It's not until the end that we have a large conflict with some spiritual realms that are opening and pitting some evil spirits into their city, that he has to kind of act and move forward. But throughout the show, he's given blessings by other gods, which helps him overcome some of the challenges he'll face. But he still has to build it up. It's not like he gets it and then he's instantly OP. He does have like a little building up arc of his powers, but it's very much laid back still. The only thing that I could say that's super amazing about this show is the opening. And
It's gorgeous.
I didn't know if you noticed this. I didn't notice it at the beginning, but as I watched later on in the series, in the opening, you'll see scenes where it'll show like the backgrounds, or show the roof of a house with birds on it, but you can actually see shadows of all the other gods in the background. You don't see them; you just see the shadows of them.
Oh, no, I hadn't noticed. I didn't finish this one. I dropped it, and part of it was because the contrast between the animation in the opening scene and then the animation in the actual episodes is too great. We were robbed, guys. And for me with Iyashikei anime, it has to look really pretty to sort of hold my attention. And the animation wasn't necessarily bad, but it's so average. And for a show like this, with a story like this, it really needed to be a lot better animated.
Mm-hmm. I I still got through it because I really enjoyed it. Like what it is, right? It's just a feel good kind of show, but
Mm-hmm.
it was really fun for me. So I kind of really enjoy a lot of these types of shows where it has spiritual things in it, like Natsume Yunshin Show, or the Book of Friends, right? Natsume.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's quite a few of them that are just really fun to see how he gets along with yokai, or what kind of yokai might give him problems. But I enjoyed it. Let's see here. What's next? Oh, this show. This show surprised me. I didn't think it was going to be that good. I thought it was just
I
all
enjoyed this one a lot. I haven't watched the last 2 episodes though.
just based on the cover of it. I thought it was just going to be like, you know, all flash, no substance. But it turned out way better
Mm-hmm.
than I thought. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I actually have come to really root for Garrow, and I want him to find love and succeed. And I really liked the hamster girl, actually. I got
Oh
super
yeah,
invested in her storyline.
oh
It's
man, her
really funny, but it's also absurd. Absolutely absurd.
that hamster girl. Oh my god, when she laughs, it just brings a smile to her face. She's just so over the top.
Yeah, I really like her a lot.
It's hyper fantasy with a lot of the things that are going on, especially with their abilities and everything. But
Hmm.
I honestly think him and the hamster girl would make a perfect match. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
the two different families. I don't know how that would go into the middle of it, but um, it's a really fun show about ghetto being a master class assassin, one of the top. I think it was 5 families, right?
Hmm.
He's like at the top of the food chain, And rather than in the show being all about assassins, it becomes more or less him being a protector. And it's all for the sake of him getting him a marriage partner because they figure that if he can save a girl in a high extreme situation that she'll fall in love with him.
Operation White Knight.
Yeah. I think what is it, like the suspension bridge effect, right?
Something like that. I forget they said, but I was too busy laughing at their crazy antics to have it stick in my brain. It's just a goofy show. You can't take it too seriously, and it has some pretty nicely animated fights sprinkled throughout too.
Yes. I think they announced that there is going to be a season 2, so I'm really excited for that.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, definitely a great show to check out this season, or last season, I should say. Marriage Toxin. Next up is this one. Kanan Sama is devilishly easy. This is one of your ecchi shows out there. So if that's your show, this is one you can try to check out. It's not extremely ecchi to the point where there's like full like nudity in it, like some other shows out there. It's more or less in they're placed in awkward situations and such. I think there was maybe just one episode where it had excessive fan service, where I guess like this girl pulled the top from her mother, and it had this whole censor bar. But other than that, it's more or less just this demon called Canon that goes to Earth to cultivate souls to eat in the school, and the boy that she has her eyes on just so happens to be this idiot that falls in love with her. And since she has no idea about anything about love, and he kind of strong arms her by putting her in awkward situations because she's such a proud lady that she can't accept, defeat or certain things, where he is able to kind of pressure her into um, becoming a couple. And it's it's very interesting to see their dynamic and how they go about their life, and how she realizes that she's actually having a lot of fun with him, even though she doesn't really want to admit it. But we are sprinkled with a few other characters to give it that somewhat harem trope. But like, we're introduced to her maid, which is a succubus, which is attacking people left and right, and even attempts to go on Yuji, which is the main guy, every once in a while to kind of entice Canon to make a move. And then we also have an angel that appears, but she's like a helpless angel that's always just nothing she can do is ever right, and she's just what do they call those? The Dame Dame Ningen kind of people. And then eventually you meet her family, which is just a lot of eccentric girls with a lot of weird fetishes. So I would say near the end of the show it really ups the perviness rather than the whole love thing. But overall, it was somewhat entertaining. But beware of the fan service if that's not your thing. Next up. Oh my god, this show. There were so many cosplayers for Needy Girl Overdose at the convention I went to. And I still don't understand the story. I know it's based off of a game, and I even bought the game, but I still haven't played it. But I would say the first 3 episodes are so confusing to me that I have no idea what was going on. I think if I watched it again, I would understand more, because as you go on, you learn more about each character. Learn it actually starts developing a linear story rather than this weird thing they were doing at the beginning. And it actually makes you really sad and very like realize this is a very dark story. It tries to be all bubbly and light about everything it's talking about, but then it has these very, very just like sharp turns into how dark everything really is. It's like this colorful, and everything that you see is just the mask for everything that's really happening. That everyone's doing everything to try to hide the bad stuff in their life to try to make everything seem better. And I think that's like the overall story of everything that's going on in this show. But you have to see it to kind of understand how creepy a lot of this stuff can be in here, and how over the top it is. But I hope to play the game one day to see how it is. I wish someone would tell me or let me know about it in the future, but we'll see. Next one, I think, was it Vinny, or was that for the Nippon Sangaku?
That would be me.
Oh, that was you.
So the biggest barrier to entry for this is that it's streaming on Amazon Prime, which, in my opinion, is the worst streaming platform ever to exist. I hate it, hate it, hate it. And for me to watch anything on it, it has to be something that I really, really, really want to watch. So that said, I did finish Nippon Sangaku, and I would recommend it. It's really good, but for the average anime fan, it does not look like your typical anime. The characters are drawn in a sort of hybrid, realistic yet anime style, which might turn some people off. I thought it was pretty cool because even though everybody has similar color hair and everything, it was really easy to tell them all apart just because of how detailed the character designs were. Because everybody is usually one of three factions and they all are wearing uniforms. So there's not that typical anime silhouette style where you can tell by the crazy hair outline or what have you who this character is. It's really good. Nothing out there really looks like it, so it's definitely one for people who enjoy animation as an art form. Check out. Oh, another thing is that it's really a miracle that most of the anime is just people talking and conversations, and yet it never is boring because the scenes are dynamically paced. They are drawn and framed in a way that keeps your attention on the conversation and what's saying, and they're never longer than they need to be. Really good show. I would recommend to check it out.
So my only question is that with the picture, the title, and everything, I have no idea what this show really is about. Like, what is it? Are they just?
Oh,
Is it just three
okay.
punks, or is it like they're?
No. It takes place, it requires a little bit of suspension of disbelief. It takes place in a sort of post apocalyptic world where Japan, and I'm assuming the rest of the world, underwent a series of terrible events that kind of all culminated in people going back to a very low level of technology. A lot of people are subsistence farmers. And in this particular Japan, there are three main countries, you could say, that have carved out little kingdoms for themselves. You've got Buo, which is to the east and sort of north. They're very large geographically. You have Sei, which is to the west and most of Western Japan. And then, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name that our main character's country hails from. The blue guys, yeah, we'll go with that, the blue guys, and they are in southern Japan, and you can also tell by the accents is that there are a lot of regional accents present in the characters and whatnot, so you can kind of get a feel for who is what. But what's really interesting is that our hero is at the beginning of the show, he's 16, he's married, he has a wife, and he's just a farmer, but he's a pretty intelligent guy, and he figures out how to basically do crop rotation and other magical farming techniques to ensure that people have enough to eat. His wife mouths off to a very important man who is also a very evil man and ends up getting executed. And later on, our hero ends up joining and working sort of alongside said evil man. So even though I say evil and whatnot, a lot of the characters are in that shades of gray type situation where they're not 100% good, they're not 100% evil, and maybe your country is doing an invasion that isn't particularly good. So the setting is post apocalyptic with warring states vibes, if that makes any sense.
I see. And so, like, what is it? Is it just turf thing, or is it like they're?
Yeah, it's turf. Basically, there are those three armies, and each of the kingdoms has a more like a different culture and a different way that they view the world and why they want to do what they want to do. And so the two main belligerents are Say, which are the yellow fellas, and then our country, which I'm still blanking on the name, the blue guys. And they're kind of going back and forth, and there's a province right where the border meets that they just keep handing back and forth to one another. And yeah, each one wants to be top dog and rule Japan. Yamato, that's who it is. We're the Yamatos. Yeah, blue is Yamato. And they have the emperor, and that's kind of why they feel like they should be on top, because they have the emperor and they're a lot like the imperial Japan of the 1920s and 30s.
Okay. So the thing I hate about Prime the most, though, I think, is like you have to have a membership, and that's to watch it with ads, right? Then you have to pay more
Yes.
to get them off.
Yes, it super duper sucks. And the other thing they're doing now is that if you pause at any time, it won't just have a still frame of what you're watching. It will go to an ad.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's horrible. So if you can, sailing the high seas might actually be a more pleasant experience than watching this on Amazon. It's just the worst streaming platform of all time.
Okay. Thank you for that. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if I see it DVD or something, or Blu-ray.
Yeah, I would say watch it that way because it's just the ads are intolerable.
And they're so long too. It's like a minute and 30 or 2 minutes every single time, I swear.
Oh, and it's the same freaking four ads too. It's the same. If I have to see that damn squirrel commercial again, I am gonna flip out.
Okay, let's go to the next title. I think I'm going to skip Re-Earth.
ReZero.
Oh, sorry, ReZero. I was reading something.
Yeah.
Sorry,
All
ReZero.
you need to know is Subaru suffers next.
Yeah, and it's still going too, right? So it's
yeah, it's
another
still
career.
going.
Next, we have Scum of the Brave, which I don't really want to talk about too much. I mean, it's the end of the season, but we kind of already explained what it was at the beginning, and it's still just more of them doing that. But the next one, though, this one was very fun and interesting. It's called Snowball Earth. Have any of you heard about this?
I heard about it, but
I watched. Oh, sorry, Vinny. Go ahead.
that's okay. Oh no, I heard about it, but just didn't interest me enough to pick up on it. So
I just watched the first episode and didn't impress me, so I dropped it.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's nothing to write home about, but um, if you continue along on the show, it has some very um nice character development for Tetsuo, and so Tetsuo is this boy that he kind of like has a social anxiety, and he ends up getting into a machine that was supposedly made to self-destruct to destroy the kaiju. I'm going to call them that, the monsters that are attacking their planet. But he's able to use the machine to actually defeat the enemy rather than blow up. And as it goes on, he's seen as this hero and is applauded as um, the savior of the world, right? So, but he's just a small child. I think he's like maybe 7 or something like that. And he's put into these situations where he's now having to risk his life and do everything, and he's seen as this savior, so everyone puts him on a pedestal. But he just wants to be friends and everyone with everyone, but he always puts himself outside of everyone's reach because of his anxiety. And the AI console for the machine becomes like his only friend that is always trying to encourage him to become outgoing and to make friends and everything. So he goes to space to fight the enemy head on, and they end up losing, and everything blows up. But before it kills him, Yukio, which is the AI machine, ejects Tetsuo, and he ends up falling back to Earth, where he wakes up and realizes that Earth has undergone a change where everything is frozen, and basically the monsters have won. So he ends up finding humanity and realizes that there's a lot of changes, that the people in this world have started eating the monster meat, and some of them undergo changes which kind of fuses them with the monster to share a connection, which also shares powers. And each monster and each connection has different abilities. So um, he ends up in the first half trying to help this village and learn more about the world. But it's when the second half that shows up is this all about this one commander that has these group of people that wants to take over the 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 school where they're hanging out at, to take over the monster that lies beneath that keeps everything warm. And Sagami, I think is what they called him. He is such he's such a good villain because you learn to hate him right away. He's so annoying. Everything he does is just all misplaced. Like, he wants to be the hero. He wants to save everyone. He likes the attention. He was that person before the kid ever came into being, and he wants that glory back. And to him, he's like, I got to destroy him so that I can take that role to become the true hero to save the world. And as you go through the story and realize everything that's happened, you learn to hate him even more and more and more. And by the end of it, it's it's so weird because you want to hate him, but then you realize that it makes it. You gotta see. I don't really want to spoil it because it's really impactful, but it's just crazy how it gets to this moment in my heart that I'm like, I still want to hate this guy, but I feel so bad for him, which I thought was really interesting for the show to do. But Tetsuo does uh develop really nice. It's very slow, so I believe there's still going to be a lot more to come out. But he now feels that he has friends and he's able to kind of speak up and everything, and it's very fun how the dynamic between Yukio the AI and Tetsuo, yeah, are with each other. But if you have some free time, I would say pick it up, but I don't think it's something you have to watch, but it's really fun if you do pick it up. Vinny, did you want to talk about the Food of Diary of Miss Maid? I was actually very interested in what that show was.
It's one of those slice of life, somewhat semi fantasy taking place in modern day. So the main character, the maid, I believe she's a mixed race between Japanese and maybe British. They never really disclosed that part. Anyway, so she was a maid working for this guy in Britain, and she was given a vacation time to come to Japan. Then the mansion that she worked for burned down, so she's pretty much given a whole year-long vacation to stay in Japan, to just, basically just pass time and, get to know whatever. And as usual, this kind of falls into the whole, Japanese food is a wonderful subgenre category. So she discovers all this like random Japanese food and how fascinated she is over how wonderful it is, yada 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 kind of thing. Animation quality is decent. The characters are very cute. There's really no mean bones in any of those characters that she come across. So it's a very pleasant series. For those who hasn't watched too many of those food porn type of series, this is completely passable type of series. Having said that, if you watch too many of those, you kind of come to go, here we go again with glorifying the most inane food item there is. As if somehow this 100 yen ice cream bar is like the greatest thing since a slice of bread kind of thing. So choose your poison carefully. So if you watch those food series enough times, you probably want to just pass up on it because there's nothing that really adds to it. But if you just want to watch some nothing ever happens and kind of you can just glide by, slice of life, everything's pleasant type of series with just nice sceneries of the random local Japan here and there, then sure.
All right. I actually might check it out because I do like the food porn animes.
Yeah, it's fine. There's nothing exceptional about this series. That's really what I was getting at.
Okay. Uh, Next up is going to be this show. Oh my god. I'll say this at the beginning. This was voted on for our anime watch along, and I regretted every moment of it after episode 3. It's called "The Strongest Job is Apparently Not the Hero or Sage, but an Appraiser." Provisional. I thought the show was going to be good. I read the manga a little bit. I thought it was really fun. Start. Even the anime I thought was a decent start and it was okay. But as you continue on, I hated the rest of the show. I could not find a reason to like the main character, how he was basically given. I mean, it was so bad that even as he gains more members and more people to join his group, it didn't make anything worse. None of his companions brought out anything that made me go, "Oh, I might like this guy," or "Oh, I might like this new character." No, it was just they brought a new character. It's pretty bland, and it I hated it every moment of it, and I just barely watched it from the side of my eye as I was working on other things. But I would say this is the worst show this season for me.
It's pretty unusual to elicit such a strong reaction from Tank, I must say.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like it was just it was it wasn't even animation wise that was bad. I mean, I probably couldn't complain about it because I didn't really pay attention to it after a while. It was terrible. I wanted to like it, but I couldn't. Yeah. You know how everyone says they hate what's his name, Kirito or something like that. This character's worse. Next up, let me see here. Give me a second, sorry. Hey, We got someone joining us.
Hello.
Hi,
Sorry I'm late.
Albert.
Hey,
I don't know if I have much to contribute this time because I haven't watched a lot this season. A lot of them are on the back burner. I had a kind of a busy month, so. But
okay.
yeah, go ahead.
We'll just continue on, and then at the end we'll see if there's anything you want to contribute to some of the titles we talked about. The next one is Wisteria Wand and Sword Season 2. It's still a pretty cool show. I think the biggest selling point for this show is just the flashiness of the fights and um, how we see our protagonist Will take everything and how he grows. The Wand and Sword is this world where magic is basically your status in everything. You know, the more powerful magic you can use, the better you are. And it seems like everyone is able to use some form of magic, but Will is unable to use any magic. But he has a dream that he shares with Feria, which is one of the leading sorcerers in this group, that he wants to climb this tower with her, but she's already up there, so he's doing everything he can to try to catch up with her. But of course, since he doesn't use magic, he only uses a sword. Um, he has a lot of pushback from everyone. Everyone's always trying to put him down, trying to, single him out, trying to push him out, to the point where in season 2, he basically, the whole city is attacked and brought to ruin, and um actually I should say that's before that. He's given a test, and he's basically at the point where he can climb the tower and be the first one without magic to do it ever. But he's then given a test by one of the teachers that blocks him so hard, which is like, tell us how you feel when you use magic. But he never used magic, so he can't pit anything. He has no idea what it would be like, which instantly fails him and prevents him from moving up. And that's how hard a lot of the people are just. And it's really interesting because it's not like they're doing it, or some of them are doing it just to pick on him because he's just, no magic. But it seems like the teacher's doing it to try to protect him from the hardships that he'll face, rather than the fact that you don't have magic. Because by this point in season 2, he's recognized that he is strong and he can contribute a lot, but he realizes that without the magic, he's going to have so much trouble, and he doesn't want to put him in that kind of situation. But in the season 2, we have a lot of conflict with the tower where everyone is attacked. There's a lot of killing going on, and he's able to ascend to this new uh this, I don't know what we call it, but he's able to like absorb magic somehow and then use it back to defeat the enemies. So now at the second half of that show, it's him trying to learn how to control it and to be able to use it so he can still climb the tower. But it's a really fun show. I would say it looks really nice, and definitely check out season 1 if you want to get a kind of an idea what it is. But action packed, very action packed, and it has a lot of the tragedy that I love. So that's why I also picked it up. I think everyone could talk about this next title, right? The Witch Hat.
Hell yeah. Anime of the season for me, but I want to know what you guys think too.
Yeah, it's okay.
What? Oh, Tank! Heresy! All right, you're wrong. Vinny, what'd you think?
Animation quality is exceptional. Having said that, I grew to dislike the series as I read more of it, so.
Oh, okay. I've only read the first 3 volumes.
Yeah, I read a little bit more. Then it got a little weird and ways that I really disliked. So I
Mm.
end up dropping it.
Okay, that'll be interesting to see when I get that far in the manga. I think the worst thing about this anime is that it ends on a cliffhanger.
As it should.
Oh gosh, it's painful. And yeah, so I have to wait to see what happens for the story. I'm reading the Grimoire edition of the manga, which volume 2 isn't set to come out until August, so I've got a little bit of a wait before I can find out what happens.
I will say about the show is that it's brought a lot of interesting stories and a lot of interesting things about, like, I've heard that there's this, I think it's a Reddit post or Reddit forum where people are making their own magic circles and creating their own spells and then sharing them with each other.
Yeah, I watched a video on YouTube where a guy came up with a program where you can draw spells and the program will take what you've drawn and make a little animation of the effect, which I thought was really cool.
Hmm. But I would say that the biggest selling point to me in this whole show, of which although it tries to be really beautiful with the magic and the allure of it in Coco's eyes, but I really find the moments where um she's kind of like in this like feeling of like she's the outsider, that she's bringing all of this um bad with the brim hats and everything to this Altair that's affecting everyone, and how it's really interesting how they kind of have her have those looks and how she feels about, oh no, am I doing something bad, is everyone going to be blaming me for these things? And
Mm-hmm.
I just love those moments. Like I'll admit, the moments where she's like super excited about magic and all these other things are kind of cool, and even the animation of certain things, like when she goes to get that flower, was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, to me, it's those moments where like she's worried, like, oh no, are they thinking this? Am I really? Do I really belong here? Am I allowed? And I've had fun with those.
Yeah, I like the other characters too, is that they balance out Coco a lot because Coco is a bit of a disaster girl where she messes up a lot and that could be frustrating, except she has three very talented young witches to sort of that she can lean on, and some are more reluctant to help her than others, but they all have very distinct personalities that set them apart from one another, and it's fun to watch them interact. But yeah, I think the most beautiful moment in the show for me, where everything came together, story, characters, animation, and music, was when they were trying to um, defeat the dragon and get out of that sort of subworld that they were in. Is that the moment that they finally succeed and do that was absolutely magical. And I was disappointed at first when Studio Bug announced that they were delaying the anime because I really wanted to watch it, but I'm glad that they did because it's pretty clear that they value quality over everything else, and I think the anime is better for it being released when it was ready and not a moment before.
Did the animation quality stay all the way good to the end?
Yes.
I only watched to about half, and I need to finish watching it. So,
Yes, it's pretty consistent all throughout.
all right, that's great. Thanks.
Yeah. I will say though, it did answer one of my biggest questions, which I was happy about. Is like why Keyfree has that one blacked out glasses. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to see where it continues. I did pick up the manga and start reading a little bit further than where we are. Not much further, but um, I'm very excited to see the rest of it. But as far as the anime of the season, honestly, I think I would say that Kamina Botan was I find a whole lot more entertaining than this. But
Really?
in a different way. Like storytelling, everything. I mean, everything. It's just, they're just so different from each other. But I just have so much more
Hmm.
feeling watching the other show, which is really strange. But
Hey,
this show
your
is still
anime of
top
the
tier.
yeah. Hey, you whatever ends up being your anime of the season, it can be for any reason. It doesn't have to be because it's of highest quality. It just has to be what you personally liked the most.
But sometimes that could be bad because I really like that smartphone anime, and that was trash.
Well, then that's when we all come together as a group and tell you how wrong you are.
But yes, anyone else have anything to add about Witch Hat? No? Okay. The last title on this list, and then we'll pick up some other titles because I think just go wanted to talk about Doro Doro, right?
Oh, it's
Or
season 2, so I don't really have a lot to say. If you didn't see season 1, there's no point in me yapping about it.
okay. Well, I'll keep this one short because this one is um not much to really say about it, except for it's just your super etchy show on High Dive. Um, where it's 100% fan service. You know, you got like naked aprons going on. The girl has accidents where her boobs are popping out. All you know, everything that uh, you know an adolescent boy would love, which I also love. But it follows this teacher, which Yoa Yoa, which I think is like what was the term again? Like uh kind of like clumsy, I would say, where she's seen as everyone calls her Koa Koa Sensei, which is scary because of how she's always mumbling to herself, how she's hunched over, and how even at moments she'll have accidents, which makes her start bleeding, and everyone thinks that she's trying to curse them or trying to attack them, but it's just her with a really highly social anxiety, but she becomes a teacher because she wants to become the teacher that everyone loves. But she's always misunderstood by everyone except for the main boy Abikura and Hiwamura, the teacher, leans a lot on him at the beginning, which leads to a lot of those. I think they call it the lucky skebe, right? The perverted moments, lucky pervert moments. But as more characters are introduced, they're just as bad and make everything a lot worse. Um, like we have this new character called Yuki, who's like a shut-in, and to get her to come to school, she's a very perverted girl that just loves to touch the teacher and inappropriately, and always puts her in awkward moments. We even get it into the photography club and everything. It's just nothing but pervert things going on. So if that's the type of thing you like, that's this show. Not much else to say. The rating is R. Surprisingly on or not surprisingly, I guess on Mal. But other than that, was there anything you wanted to mention? Any kind of info about uh, Albert for any shows?
Not really. Did you guys talk about Mao, by the way?
No, no one had it on
No.
their list.
No one watched it? Okay. So yeah, Mao is a Rumiko Takahashi, famed for, Urusei Yatsura, aka Lum the Invader, Ranma and a Half, uh, Inuyasha, right? So this is her latest manga that is adapted. And I just happened to start watching it on a whim with a friend. And the first season is one core, 12 episodes, and you know, she does know how to set up a story and get it going. And I feel like from having watched at least the beginning parts of Inuyasha, Mao has slightly better pacing. I don't know if that continues because, as you all know, later, many of her later manga and anime adaptations tend to drag because nothing happens in the relationship. All right, so therein lies the problem. So yeah, at the beginning, it's pretty good. Mao, you could find the synopsis easily, but it involves a curse, time travel, um, and people who the main character and several others have lived for hundreds of years, centuries, and therein lies a mystery. There's a curse by uh, a yokai, which is a cat, and that seems to span the time when the Kanto Great Earthquake happened, to all the way to the modern era. So, there's a lot of intriguing elements, a lot of interesting characters. The cast just keeps growing over the first season, and it's overall the animation quality stays the same, although there are a few recycled or recaps that happen, but not too bad. And yeah, overall, it's intriguing enough that I think when season two or the second core comes out, I will watch it. So if you like a lot of Rumiko Takahashi stuff, you might want to check it out. It does have a little bit of um, more than Inuyasha. It has some horror elements to it. Um, and if you've read any of her mermaid series, I think it leans a little bit more towards that, but not as much as the actual mermaid series. So yeah, you might want to check it out at some point if you're interested in their stuff.
So by mermaid, are you talking about the dark elements?
Yeah, yeah, like the horror elements.
Okay. And I would. So is this basically like time travel without the well, or is it like they travel once and they're stuck there?
No, it's back and forth. So
Okay.
I guess in that case, it's the same as the well, but the distance, not distance, the time that they span is from Taisho era to the modern era. And she does go through this one, I think, yeah, it's a torii gate at a shopping center. That when she goes through it, she ends up in the other time. But the other time is not quite what history says because there are other yokai and other things living. And she meets Mao, who is one of the other protagonists. Um, and he has lived for centuries under a curse that he's trying to get rid of. So yeah,
Okay. I was looking it up, and it seems that Mao is a Hulu, streamed on Hulu, versus anywhere else.
yeah,
I guess.
we watched it on Hulu is with Disney, right? I think.
Yeah.
Or is it HBO? No, it's Disney. So I watched it on Disney. I don't have it. My friend does. So
Okay. And now this is actually kind of interesting. It has no episode count.
uh, really?
So,
It was 12. But
well, 12.
obviously I think it might be continuing. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It. I don't know. Maybe the site just hasn't updated, but it doesn't show like 24 or 12 or anything like that. It just has a blank, so they don't even know how long it's going to go.
Hmm.
All right. Um, Other than that, anything else you wanted to mention about anything?
Nope.
Okay, I think that's everything though. I do have some news. I think by the end, closer to the end of the month, if you guys like Dangers in My Heart, the movie's gonna be coming on Hulu for that. I really love that show. So if you didn't get to see it in theaters, now you can watch it there. Um, Also, I've noticed that a lot of shows are being listed on a new streaming service. It's been out for a while, but I never really noticed how many are going there now until now, which is called Oceanville.
Hmm.
So, um, I don't know what all the titles are, but there's one very interesting one that I want to check out about I think it was like, what was it called? Like something he's behind you or something. Some kind of exorcist kind of show, which looked really interesting. But I think we don't have that much time for the start of the season. There's already a lot of episodes, so I think not next week, but the week after, we can try to get together to do the whole new season. If you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, I think that'll work for me.
Yeah,
Other
sure.
than that, there's a lot of continuations of a lot of shows we didn't get to, and there's going to be a lot of them in the new season as well. I think this season we skipped over the vending machine, Rent a Girlfriend, which is on season 5.
Oh my goodness.
Please
That
stop.
that time I
Yeah.
got reincarnated as a slime was on season 4. That Udama Demon School one had a season 4. So there's a lot of other shows that are long going that are continuing on. I think Dr. Stone as well. So if anyone else has seen any of those shows and it's worth it, let us know. Put a comment and we'll try to check it out. Some of us are always looking for something we can sink our teeth in if we have some free time. But other than that, I'd like to say thank you. And any movie announcements you guys know of? Or
I mean, the Ghibli Fest is, as always, going on this summer, so you might want to check it out. And then I think there's a couple that are going to be dropping on Netflix, like new ones this season. I think Ribbon Hero is supposed to be this season. And I was speaking on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, go watch the Milky Subway movie on Netflix.
okay, Milky Silver. I'll have to check that one out then. Oh,
It's only like 50 minutes, and I highly recommend it in both English and Japanese.
I know this is not anime related, but I just really like it. It's if you guys don't know, Shaolin Soccer is getting a new movie.
Oh
It's
yeah,
gonna
I heard about that.
Shaolin soccer.
Yeah, so they're gonna make a second one coming out in August, I think, in theaters. So hopefully. But we can talk about that all at the next season. But thank you guys all for hanging out. And let's say goodbye. Thank you, Dragon, for being out there in the chat. Bye bye.